So, Cleetus McFarland done bought himself DeSoto Speedway. This can only end well.
The following is a Cruisers Motorsports exclusive.
Skywarp here, and recently everybody who has made the connection between the fact that Cleetus McFarland just bought DeSoto Speedway and the fact that I used to race at DeSoto Speedway have shared with me all the ensuing videos from Cleetus' channel about doing so. I've recently just subscribed to Cleetus, just out of interest to see what's happening to the track, because I've not only stood in victory lane from winning the night's feature races, I've also cleaned out the accumulated trash from underneath the bleachers. It was the first track I ever stepped foot on in Florida. Went 18th to 1st in my first ever race there, in 4 laps, and then the car broke. Won features in 3 different classes, tested SCCA cars and project cars there. Hell, I even went to an Eric Church concert in the infield once. I would almost go as far as to consider DeSoto my home track, if I hadn't cut my teeth so hard at Mansfield Speedway, which technically still exists, but 3 years ago or so they tore up millions of dollars of asphalt to turn it back into a dirt track, and now it's defunct. That's a topic for another video. While my feelings on DeSoto and even Mansfield are set in stone, I have mixed feelings about watching what's coming from Cleetus' channel since he made it public that he bought the track. So I decided to go down a positive and negative list of this happening. And yes, while the positives do outweigh the negatives, there are still negatives. But let's start off on a positive note, which is probably the most important thing: track preservation. If you're into track-based racing like I am, you know the ever-growing threat to our beloved pastime is urban sprawl. Racetracks that were originally built out of sight and out of mind of city dwellers so the sound wouldn't bother anybody are now finding themselves in prime real estate for upper middle-class housing developments, aka suburbs. DeSoto Speedway itself, like the hundreds of racetracks that have fallen in the last 50 years or so, really isn't worth that much money. What is worth a lot of money is the land that it sits on. It wasn't but a year ago I remember some big housing developer was already looking into buying the track simply for the land. And then something didn't work out good enough with a soil test or something, so it eventually fell through.
You move to an area and you multiply until every natural resource is consumed. And the only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern. Do you know what it is? A virus.
Cleetus buying the track has delayed the chance of this happening, though. I say delay because it's only really 15 to 20 years away from urban sprawl threatening the business of the tracks, both DeSoto and Bradenton Motorsports Park, the drag strip that's literally right next door to DeSoto Speedway. The sad part about that is, though, it is not my guesstimate time frame. That's directly from the owner of BMP himself as he watches urban sprawl threaten his livelihood. The next positive thing is Cleetus seems genuinely concerned about maintaining and repairing aspects of the track grounds. Sure, there are things that need to be fixed to do what he wants to do there, but he seems concerned about everything there, both maintaining and upgrading. In one of his latest videos, he had the original owner of the track come out and walk the grounds, talking about the initial construction of the track and some of its history.
Who are you? I am the architect.
I don't really know if his interest in the history was fabricated out of the need to make a video about it, or if it was really genuine, but it seemed to be the latter. Cleetus seems genuine in wanting to know about DeSoto's past, which to me, for DeSoto to have an owner that is that passionate about it, it will help ensure the track's survival for years to come. Going right down the list of positives to what's between the positives and negatives is this little tidbit. Of all the local businesses that want to offer their services, some John Deere dealer offering up some nice equipment for like a year and another lawn care business that knocked down all the overgrowth in the infield is what I've seen so far. One could guess that it's possible that they were just fans of his channel and wanted to help out. But no doubt they weren't missing out on that potential advertising aspect of it getting on Cleetus' channel with close to 2 million subscribers.
Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 9,000!
Where were these businesses when DeSoto was in regular operation? When DeSoto is in regular operation with a show every week, it contributed greatly to local economy. Yet these businesses were nowhere to be seen offering up free services. Don't get me wrong, it's great that Cleetus is getting help with the facility. But in reality, his Freedom Factory is going to do far less for local economy holding limited amounts of shows every year than having them weekly on a regular track operation schedule.
What else do you have in the warehouse?
Hence, we get into the negatives of this most recent purchase of DeSoto Speedway. The first being that the purchase wasn't really centered around the aforementioned weekly show, so local racers like myself still don't have a place close to home to race, as the next tracks available are around an hour away. DeSoto is a unique track, and it's the only facility with that steep of bank corners on the west coast of Florida, which is my favorite kind of circle track to race. And I get it, Cleetus is a drag racer.
I live my life a quarter mile at a time.
And crazy burnouts get YouTube views. It just looks like DeSoto now is going to be used for everything but actual circle track racing, defeating the purpose it was built for in the first place. Cleetus has also mentioned paving over the infield, essentially getting rid of the inner track for a burnout pad. Again, burnouts and donuts taking precedence over actual racing. The inner track was used for a 4-cylinder, underage 18 class, kind of getting young racers used to driving. The grass in the infield was much more forgiving if there was a collision, making it safer there for young racers. Sure, you can cone off or use cones to make the inner track if it were all paved over. Frankly though, it doesn't make for as good a racing, as drivers seldom adhere to cones. I guess to sum it up, local asphalt circle track racing is in trouble as it loses more and more tracks across the country. To have new life breathed into DeSoto is great, though for the purpose of burnouts, donuts, and drifting, doesn't do anything for circle track racers that could be racing here. And it makes me a sad panda. Finally, the last negative is more personal to me, which I guess makes it more of a side note. Cleetus has gained a place to test and play with his cars. As he should, he's the one who bought it. However, I lost one. I did a lot of testing out there when it was open for business with cars, and it was just a great place to blow off steam during the week and just go out and do some laps. Since Cleetus is such a big-time YouTuber, he's pretty hard to get a hold of. I left comments on both his videos and Facebook posts after he mentioned he might need some volunteers to help track cleanup, saying I was interested if I could get some track time out of it maybe. But with 2 million subscribers, all my requests got lost in the white noise, so yeah, I've lost my local playground. It's kinda sad. So there's my take on Cleetus buying DeSoto. Very biased, of course, because I was a local racer of the track. But tell me what you guys think of the new Freedom Factory in the comments below. As always, I want to hear what you guys have to say. Remember, if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel, as I have more garage updates and more Forza stuff on the way. Check the description below for the links to the Cruisers Gaming Facebook groups, Discord, And if you should find yourself in a position to help the channel grow, and want a Cruisers window sticker for your efforts, feel free to join the Cruisers Patreon. I thank everybody for watching, my friends, and remember, those friends, they're the family you get to choose. I'll see you next week, fellow Cruisers.